Okay, I've got to give you a topic and subtopic sheet. Did I give that to you already? Okay. Got quite a few handouts here on this deal, so you're going to want to keep them in front of you. Okay, this is the subtopic and topic sheet here. Make sure you have this available so that you can refer to it, because there's lots of different names and things you're going to need to know. I think the cool thing about this, those that are able, you'll be able to be right where all this action happens. Okay, you remember I told you the soldiers were equipped with an 1873 Springfield carbine? Okay, here's what one looks like. I actually have one of these myself.
How much is it worth?
Well, I paid about $1,500 for the one I have. If you found one from the battle today, priceless, if you could even find one. Mine's a replica, and mine's an officer's model, which is a little bit fancier, but they all look the same. Yeah, I shot it. It's 45-70, kicks like a mule. It really, really does. What else were they equipped with? A Colt what? Colt 45. Here's a picture of it. Here's a picture of a pretty standard issue Colt 45 in those days. I have a replica of that also. That, you'll get a chance to see before we're done here.
Yeah, it's fat. It's not that long. It's like a 45. So you have to kind of, you got 45 to 60. Or like the card.
Okay, this is a map here that you're going to need to have in front of you to understand this thing in general. Then I'll give you a more detailed map when we actually get into the battle. So I have this thing in front of you so you kind of have an idea of what we're talking about here. If you look at the bottom, kind of bottom right-hand corner of this map, you'll see the area. You might just mark that so you know where we're at, of where Custer divided his column. That's where we're at right now. You might even want to put a little X on that so you know. Okay? And we'll end up getting a more detailed map a little bit later when we get closer to where we're at. Anybody remember the day? What day in history is this? What's the date today?
June 25th.
June 25th. Okay, so our overall topic is the Battle of the Little Bighorn, Part 1. We are actually going to split this into 3 different parts, so you don't have a great big huge test at the end. It's easier to understand. So Battle of the Little Bighorn, Part 1, and the route of the 7th Cavalry to the Little Bighorn River is our first subtopic. And under that subtopic is the route of Custer and Reno. Because remember, they split them up, right? Now Custer and Reno are going to go together, and Benteen is going to go protect what? The left flank. Okay, so keep in mind when we talk about the route of Custer and Reno that they are together at this point. Okay? Now you see where they're at on the map there. And when they made the split, basically, Lieutenant Colonel Custer and Major Reno marched toward Ash Creek, which is on your ID sheet. It's called Reno Creek now. Do you see it on the map? You can see it on the map. It says Reno, South Fork of Reno Creek, which means that, what would the rest of that line be right there? Reno Creek. But it was renamed Reno Creek when? After this. It was called Ash Creek at the time. So Lieutenant Colonel Custer and Major Reno marched towards Ash Creek, which is present-day Reno Creek, en route to the Little Bighorn River Valley. Now, do you see the Little Bighorn River there on that map on your left bottom part? You can see the Little Bighorn, can't you not? Now, at approximately 2 p.m. on June 25th, 1876, the Reno Custer Regiment came upon the Lone Teepee, which is on your ID sheet, and you can also see it on your map. Now, some people spell it T-I-P-I, some in history T-E-P-E-E. I chose the T-E-P-E-E version, so you see a difference. So at approximately 2 p.m. on June 25th, 1876, the Custer Reno Regiment came upon what was known as the Lone Teepee. And that's exactly what it was. It was a lone, single teepee. And what it was is it was a great big Sioux camp during the Battle of the Rosebud. Okay? It was a great big Sioux camp during the Battle of the Rosebud.
Was that like the part that they were just looking at whatever?
That, on the movie there?
Yeah.
No, actually that wasn't. That was a different thing they ran upon. But that was another big camp. But that's a good question. Now here's the difference, Wade. The Lone Teepee was actually a ceremonial lodge for a warrior that was killed during the Battle of the Rosebud. And so it was really sacred to who that was with Custer and Reno?
The Indian Scouts.
The Indian Scouts. So they came upon the Lone Teepee, and what it was is it was a ceremonial lodge for one of the warriors that was killed during the Battle of the Rosebud. And because it was sacred, the Crow Scouts made a decision. So the Lone Teepee was a ceremonial lodge for a warrior killed during the Battle of the Rosebud. It was considered sacred to Custer's Crow Scouts, and because of their spiritual beliefs, what did they choose to do? No? Good guess. What? Kind of.
They went with Reno instead of Custer.
They chose to not go any farther. Okay, they were done. Remember Custer said to them, once we locate the hostiles, the Indian Scouts are free to go. They really kind of located them, but so it's a little bit sketchy there. But the Crow Scouts made the decision at that point that they didn't want to go any farther. Did Custer appreciate that, or did he get angry? He got angry. And this is what he said to the Scouts. When the Scouts made it clear that they were not going to move forward any farther, Custer said, quote, "Move forward, or I will take your guns and horses and make a woman out of you." That's what Custer said to the Crow Scouts. Move forward, or quote, "I will take your guns and horses and make a woman out of you." So Custer gets angry when he finds out the Crow Scouts aren't going to go any farther, and he shouts at them to move forward, or quote, "I will take your guns and horses and make a woman out of you." He's insinuating that they are what? Not crazy.
Strangers.
No.
Oh.
Frightened. They're scared. They don't want to go past that. Okay? So he's insinuating when he says to the Scouts, "I will take your guns and horses and make a woman out of you," that they are afraid or scared to go any farther. Well, one of the Crow Scouts speaking in his native tongue, made a comment back to Custer. Did Custer understand it? No. Okay? So one of the Crow Scouts, after Custer made his comment to the group, made a comment back to Custer in his native tongue. And Custer couldn't understand it, so what did he do? No. He asked the civilian interpreter that was on the trip, a guy by the name of Fred Gerard, who's on your ID sheet, to tell him what the Crow Scout said. So when the Crow Scout made the comment back to Custer, after he made the comment to the group, Custer then instructed Fred Gerard, who was the civilian interpreter, Indian interpreter on the trip, to tell him what the Indian Scout said. Anybody want to guess what the Indian Scout said to Custer?
Something I was there.
No?
So he's going to lose.
No, he made a comparison. What did he compare? Well, he said to him basically in these, I mean this isn't a direct quote, but he said, if you make a woman out of every one of your soldiers that is scared, it would take you a long time to do so. That's basically what he said. His point was, we're not the only ones scared here. Your soldiers are just as scared as we are of because what you're getting yourself into. Because when you watch the video, are they pretty aware of what they're up against? Sure they are. They've been up to the crow's nest. They're talking about so many warriors that their ponies look like worms in the grass. From that type of distance that Custer couldn't even see them. So basically what the interpreter Fred Gerard said is the Crow Scout said to Custer, if he made a woman of all of his soldiers that were with him that were scared, it would take him a long time to do so, to make a woman out of them all. Okay? Who's in a very awkward position right now?
Custer.
Think about
Bloody
the Indian scout.
Bloody Knife.
Bloody Knife is, because he's very loyal to Custer. And the events at the Lone Teepee become a pretty awkward position to him because he does not want to be disloyal to Custer, yet he's got his own spiritual beliefs. Remember, Bloody Knife was Custer's favorite scout. Custer even gave him a medal, which they showed you on the video, that said world's best or world's greatest scout. Right? He also told Bloody Knife that when he became the great father, that he would take him to Washington and provide for his family. You remember that? So Bloody Knife's in a pretty tough situation here. He didn't want to abandon Custer, but his spiritual beliefs were pretty important to him. Well, as they're sitting there discussing this, Fred Gerard spots a group of Indians over the top of the bluffs fleeing toward the Little Bighorn River. So they see a group of Indians for the first time. Not a large group, but a group of Indians. As Fred Gerard's, kind of looking around, skying around, he sees a group of Indians going over the bluffs from where the Lone Teepee was. And so Gerard rode to the top of the bluff to watch him. Okay, so he spots a group of Indians, hostiles, riding over the ridge, over the bluff. And so when Gerard sees that, while they're making this other comment with the scouts, Gerard goes to the top of that small knoll and he cries out back to Custer, "There, General, are your Indians, running like the devil." So for the first time, they've made contact with hostiles. Okay? So again, as they're talking about the interpretation and all this thing in the scout issue at the Lone Teepee, Gerard sees a group of Indians take off over the bluffs. He rides to the top of the knob and he yells back to Custer, "There, General, are your Indians, running like the devil." So for the first time, we've spotted Native Americans.
Is this at the Lone Teepee?
That's at the Lone Teepee, yep. So again, at the Lone Teepee, Fred Gerard spots a group of Indians fleeing towards the Little Bighorn River. He rides to the top of the small knoll and he calls back to Custer, quote, "There, General, are your Indians, running like the devil." Point being, for the first time in the campaign, they have actually spotted the hostiles within a distance they can relate to them. Okay? All right, we'll quit there for today. Just kind of get you started. Tomorrow we'll talk about the route of Reno and Custer, and also we'll talk about what Benteen's doing. Okay? Perfect. Get your little start going. Blood pumping. Okay, I got to try a new thing.